So today, guys, I'm with a very interesting guest for today's episode. And it might be a little bit of a different episode than we typically had on the show, but I'm very curious to learn from Sebastian Hardung, who is hailing over as the Director of Alliances and Marketing for a very interesting company, the Priint Group. And essentially, what Sebastian is responsible for is to, expanding the partner network of this German software solution. So we have a fellow German here on the show today. And essentially, as the name is already saying, the team is all about print solutions. But I don't want to take anything away. I want to give all the Sebastian all the stage to explain what Priint is all about in detail. So and learning about his approach on building up those partnerships. So Sebastian, welcome to the show.
Hi, Lucas. Thank you for having me.
Very good. So maybe in your own words, what is Priint all about?
Well, we're all about getting structured data into creative and automated processes. So every time you have a content system that holds product data or interesting information and you want to either print a big catalog, a leaflet, a brochure, targeted audience specific catalogs, or maybe even an automated mailing like a complex postcard based on different systems like ERP, MRM, and your PIM system, everything's possible with our technology.
Very cool. That sounds like a very succinct description of something very complex in the background. So very, very good. I really appreciate that. So maybe you could tell us, right, to make it also for the listeners easy to understand, like what would be a typical client and what would be the typical use case if they would be starting with Priint?
Well, that totally depends on, I think we have basically three different areas of customers. We have customers out of industry, manufacturing industry, wholesale, and retail. For the classic retail company, it would be the weekly leaflet you find in your post box. For the industry manufacturing, it might be a price list. It might be the big catalog you're getting. There are still companies that need like 1,000-page catalogs. We even have some companies that are in an area where they print small targeted publications, where they basically need a publication with 100 or 200 products. So they are very tailored to the customer group. So every time you're spending a lot of time with your manual process to generate this kind of thing, we can help you to make it much quicker. Our colleague Jonathan from the US always likes to tell about one of his potential customers he had a few years back. They told him that they need 18 months to print their annual catalog. So
There's
taking
something
18
wrong in
months.
the logic there.
Yeah, it didn't really work out. So it's very interesting. And if you're looking at the current time, everything's digital. No one's really meeting anymore. So it's a really special thing to have something printed that's tailored to your needs. If I get a catalog that's really tailored to my interests instead of just a general catalog with everything in it, it's really something I look at.
Really interesting. Okay, that gives us a good idea. So now, obviously, the big question that we always love to talk about in the Pathwing Presents podcast is obviously different the journey that somebody's going through in order to get started to work with Priint. Like, what is the typical way that somebody would actually starting to know about your services and then getting started? Like, what are the client acquisition channels?
I think if looking at our company, we're very channel driven. So our partner channel is the main area of contacts. We're partnering with, I think, every big PIM and MDM system out there, from SAP, Informatica, Akineo, ContentServe. So if you're looking at our website, every PIM system out there is a connector to us. So most of the time, if you're talking about making your process with data better, you're normally getting a PIM system, and then you're thinking, okay, how can I improve the ROI of the PIM system? It's mainly going to channels, and Priint is one of those channels.
Makes a lot of sense. And sort of, let's say we're talking about the digital channels, the website. What role do you attribute to the website?
To our website or the websites in general?
No, your own website.
Oh, we just recently relaunched our website totally because our website originally was built a few years back, and like websites are sadly not like good wine; they don't get better with time. So when we redid the website, we took the approach of really looking how would a customer or a potential customer look for us. And we did the classic things. We talked about personas and how does a certain persona reach the website, and how can we target that persona once it's on the website. So I think from a online marketing point of view, we did the classics.
Mhm. Makes sense. And okay, super interesting. And you redid the website right now. Like, where do you see like sort of the strength of the website now with that redesign? And I'm asking because obviously in Pathmark Presents we always have to talk a little bit about the website. So I'm very curious, where do you see the strength of the website?
I think the strength of the website is on one hand, of course, the classic organic search reach, because
Mm-hmm.
with the old website we were found a lot with the keywords of our partner names. So people looked for SAP hybrids, they kind of went to our page at one point. With the redesign, we focused a lot on what is the customer need. So if I, as a customer, look for a solution to automatically generate complex data sheets, you should land on our website. So we focused a lot on tailoring the stories we're talking about on the website to the needs of the customers. So they even have a chance to find us.
Makes sense. And would you say that even like client generation from the website has taken now a different role with that new website? Or like what role does, the website play in terms of actually creating conversations?
Creating conversations is not yet something the website really reaches because we just
Mm-hmm.
relaunched it in December. So it still gains traction, but
Makes
it
sense.
really helps when we're talking to customers because this is the first time we have the website done in 3 languages. We're globally active, so normally we would need our website at least in English and German.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have it in English, German, and French. And our colleagues in the Japanese sales bureau are currently translating the needed stuff to Japanese. So it gets a lot more content.
Very, very good. Cool. Yeah, switching away from the website, obviously. Now I'm curious to learn about, if somebody would get started with you guys, like what is sort of the typical competitive advantage that they get when getting started with Priint?
It again depends massively on what your role is in the company. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
designer and you normally work on leaflets, the classic process would be someone sends you an email. In the email attached is a picture and some text and some information about the leaflet you have to build, and you have to copy and paste everything manually on the page. Then you're done with the leaflet, you send it to your customer, you get it back with corrections. With our technology, you can open InDesign, press a few buttons, and just pull the content directly onto your page based on the data in the central PIM system. So you get a much quicker process, you have direct access to the data, and there's a little bit more process assuredness when it comes to the correct data. If we are switching gears to a pharmacy company, which is very strict on regards on what the law says should be on the packaging, it's much better to have that information directly from the PLM system instead of copy and pasting it out of an email on Excel sheet.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So a lot of different use cases here where that sort of standardized data
Yeah.
processing from one place into your designs is actually a massive help. Very, very good. Okay, cool. I would love to switch gears a little bit. And have maybe a quick chat about sales and marketing. Like how is sales and marketing structured with Priint? In that type of industry where you guys are at, like how do you see the structure of sales and marketing working together?
I think if you're looking at it from a high perspective, sales and marketing are growing closer and closer. So marketing is responsible, of course, of most of communication, how do we present how do we present the company. But if you're looking at the overlap between sales and marketing, we are generating leads by webinars. Then we have some contact, and then it needs to be either handed over to the salespeople so they can reach out and follow up on what happened, or marketing has to do part of the thing. So at Priint, we're working pretty much hand in hand with our colleagues in sales.
Very cool. Awesome. So, we also love to learn in the interview about the individuals that are, behind all of this marketing and the partnership magic. I would be curious, like, what's the way that you educating yourself, like with all the tons of information out there and how you could improve marketing and partnership build-ups, like, how do you pick information that you trust and like to consume?
I have basically one very broad channel. I'm a very happy reader of the Harvard Business Review. I even
Hmm.
have a classic subscription. I get it shipped every 2 months.
Hmm.
And I'm asking around people who I trust and who I know that are good at what they do, what kind of material do they read? I'm a very big fan of Adam Grant. He's a behavioral psychologist out of the US. Very great. He has a great TED podcast. It's called Work Life by Adam Grant. If you ever want to listen to something about work psychology, listen to that. It's really great. And also, I'm listening to leadership podcasts, communication. So when it comes to what I like to learn about partnership and marketing, it has to do a lot with communication and how people behave and how we should talk to each other.
Since we're slowly coming to an end of the interview, I would love to jump into our rapid fire questions. Are you ready for those?
Sure.
Very cool. What's the last book that you read?
Originals by Adam Grant.
What's the one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
Can I skip that question? We're focused on so many things currently.
Very good. Very good. If there would be no boundaries in technology, what's the one thing that you would want to have fixed for the company?
If there would be no bounds in technology.
No boundaries in technology, no limits, and you can decide what's the one thing you want to have fixed for the company.
Scheduling meetings a much more efficient way, because that's currently killing me.
Understand. What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about your company?
Getting the website done.
What is one advice that you would give yourself if you would today have your first day working with Priint?
None.
No advice.
Nope.
Okay. You're gonna let yourself run into the experience. No help.
Yeah, I don't know what the English word for vidder is. I'm one of those animals that runs head first through the wall. So
interesting answer.
I don't do good with that kind of advice.
Very good. Very cool. So Sebastian, I really appreciate that you took the time with us on Pathmark Presents. And I want to give you the last word, right? If somebody would be forgetting everything about Priint that we just discussed, what's the one thing that they should remember about the company?
The one thing. That's a really tough question, because I think that we're written with two eyes. So Priint with two eyes, it's the most important thing about us, because it's the most funny if we're talking about on an event. How are you spelled? That's one of the main questions.
Makes sense. Everybody who's listening in, you can head to Priint, Priint.com, two eyes. Very good. Thanks for being part of the show.
Thank you for having me. Have a great evening.